My manipulative mother-in-law tried to cut me out of the family trip and humiliated me, but I exposed her secret will and cruelty, leaving her alone on her birthday. Hey there, I'm Emma, and I'm only 26 years old. Can you believe it? 3 years ago, I tied the knot with the most stunning guy on the planet, Ethan. He's a total sweetheart who always makes me feel like the luckiest girl alive. But hold on to your hats, folks, because here's the jaw-dropper. My mother-in-law, Evelyn, is like the wicked witch of the West when it comes to me. She's been gunning for me since day one, and trust me, it's a roller coaster you won't want to miss. I totally get it. I mean, who wouldn't want to protect their precious baby boy, right? But brace yourself for this shocker. Sometimes I think Evelyn takes it to a whole new level. She's not just protecting her son, she's the queen of subtle, innocent-seeming manipulations. She'll pull off these tiny, seemingly harmless acts that drive you up the wall, all while making you look like the crazy one. It's like she's got a master plan to mess with your mind. We've all encountered someone like that in our lives, haven't we? Well, buckle up, because I have to deal with this person on a regular basis. She's my mother-in-law. Here's the kicker. I was raised completely differently. I'm the kind of person who doesn't shy away from calling out nonsense, and trust me, I don't hold back. It's probably why Ethan fell head over heels for my personality, because he's the quiet, soft-spoken type. We're like yin and yang, folks. You know what they say? Opposites attract, and boy, do they ever. I've dabbled in a bit of psychology myself, and trust me, I can spot bad intentions from a mile away. It's like our strong personalities are magnets, just drawing us into a clash. Speaking of clashes, let me take you back to the first time I met her. Evelyn looked me straight in the eye and dropped this bombshell. Emma, don't you think it's high time you cut back on all that eating? Can you believe it? Picture this. We're all sitting at the restaurant table, and the tension in the air is so thick you could cut it with a knife. I'm sitting there completely mortified, my face probably as pale as a ghost. It's just me, Ethan, my boyfriend at the time, George, my future father-in-law, and Evelyn at the table. George looks like he's been struck speechless and bows his head, almost as if he's trying to share in my embarrassment. It was one of those moments you just wish you could disappear from. Ethan was embarrassed too, but he was also angry at his mother for saying that. He aptly berated her. Really, Mom? That is such an awful thing to say. She can eat as much as she wants to. Oh no, sweetie, she replied. I didn't mean any harm. I just wanted to look out for you. You know, I've noticed that you've been gaining a lot of weight. Ethan has been showing me your photos from when you were younger, and you looked so much better than... Not like now, but I don't mean to be offensive, sweetheart. I'm just trying to give you some advice. I tried my best to remain calm. I didn't want to cause a scene, but my embarrassment quickly turned into irritation. Nonetheless, because this was my first time meeting the family and I wanted to make a lasting impression, I absolutely adored Ethan. For the first time in a long time, I held my tongue. I just smiled at her politely and thanked her for the unsolicited advice. Situations like that grew in frequency and intensity as we got to know each other more. I genuinely believed the taunting would stop at some point after she'd determined I was good for her son, but it only appeared to be getting worse. I was beginning to get along fine with my father-in-law, George, who is the sweetest man on earth. I see where Ethan gets it from. As much as I was growing closer to everyone else in Ethan's family, Evelyn appeared to be the only one who disliked me, and for no apparent reason as well. I was even introduced to Ryan, Ethan's childhood friend. These two had practically grown up together, and George and Evelyn treated Ryan like a second son. Now, don't get me wrong. Ethan was all in with our relationship, and it seemed like his entire family, including extended family and Ryan, had welcomed me with open arms. It was like I had become part of their close-knit circle, but guess who decided to be the exception? Yep, you guessed it. Evelyn had her own special issues with me. I'm so grateful for the love and support I received from the vast majority of Ethan's family, right up until my wedding day, where my mother-in-law, of course, tried to do something conniving to make me look bad on my special day. She made it a point to be as bothersome and ridiculous as she could be. Honestly, she was acting like a bridezilla. No, her hair is supposed to be in an updo, just like how I did on my wedding day. I appreciate the help, Evelyn, but I want my hair to look like this. I don't think so. You look so ugly. The bridal party gasped. But unfortunately, I was used to this, so it wasn't surprising. She quickly tried to rectify her mistake. Oh no, darling, no. I just mean that you can look so much better than you do now, and I would just like to say that I see a lot of myself in Emma. She is such a bright young woman, and even though I looked much better than she did at her age, I would like to say that she is beautiful in her own way. Although my father-in-law managed to get my mother-in-law to stop her ruthless antics that day, the pain and bitterness I felt remained. This was not in my nature to remain silent and unresponsive. I was losing my firecracker energy. This woman was slowly draining me, and it had to end. Fast forward 3 years to where today's story takes place. We found ourselves gathered around the dining table in Ethan's childhood home, the place where his parents still resided, on a quiet Sunday evening. My mother-in-law had extended the ever-so-gracious invitation to us, even including Ryan. You'd think it was a special occasion given the way she'd invited us all, but I couldn't shake the nagging suspicion that there was more to this dinner than met the eye. And as it turned out, my suspicions were right on the money. At the time, though, it felt like a somewhat pleasant surprise. At some point, the ball dropped, and this is the beginning of what turned out to be a very messy series of events. My mother-in-law started to garner everyone's attention because she had an important announcement to make. She pulled out a paper and started reading it. "Attention, everyone. I have an announcement to make. As you all know, my birthday's coming up, and so I wanted to let you know what I've been planning for this very special day. I've decided that we're going to take a trip to Hawaii." The paper was confirmation of the Hawaii trip. "That sounds fantastic." "Wow, that's amazing, Emma. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii." "Oh my goodness, this is great news. I'm so excited. I don't even know what to say. Thanks so much, Ma." "Oh, actually, you're not coming, honey." "What are you talking about? This wasn't part of the plan. I made some last-minute arrangements. I managed to cancel her ticket before they gave us extra charges." "Oh, so my ticket was already bought? She just went ahead and canceled it? Why does this woman hate me so much?" "Mom, what are you talking about?" Ryan and I seemed to be the only ones silent in this whole situation, as a flurry of harsh words was exchanged back and forth. Eventually, after some poking and prodding for a decent excuse, Evelyn finally stated, Okay, fine. I'll tell you the reason why I thought it best that Emma sits this family event out. As you all know, I'm getting a little bit older, and I've decided that I want the remaining years of my life to be centered on being around the people I care most about." It was all going relatively well until my mother-in-law dropped a bombshell. She said, "Unfortunately, Emma just doesn't belong on that list." My jaw practically hit the floor as I responded, "Wow, Mom, really? What's the matter with you?" She shot back, "There's nothing wrong with me. Don't you dare disrespect me. I'm just stating a fact." I couldn't hold back and retorted, "Well, by that logic, then Ryan shouldn't be able to go either, right? Since he isn't technically family as you're stating." The tension at that dining table was thick enough to cut with a knife. But we all know that's preposterous. He is part of the family. And ever since Ethan and Emma got married, that means she is part of the family. Well, obviously with Ryan it's different. You know that he's just so precious, and he's our sweet baby angel. He's always been here, but Emma hasn't, so that's why I'm just not comfortable with her coming on the trip. And it's my birthday, so I get to decide whatever I want. Come on, Emma, we're leaving at once. No. The way I firmly said no commanded all the attention in the room, including from my antagonist, who had been trying to stifle a smile this entire time, but at that moment she wiped it off her face. "Evelyn, you've made it clear since the beginning that you do not like me, and every day for the past 3 years I have endured your insufferable ill will. You think we all don't see how you act? You think we all don't notice that you're a narcissist? Little girl, you better watch the way you speak to me. You are in my house, and I'm not for long. I'm just about to leave, actually." Before things escalated further, I turned to my dear husband, who was glaring at his mother with fierce intensity. I took a deep breath and said, "Babe, I love you with all my heart, and I've given this my best shot for a long time, but it's becoming clear to me that your mother will never fully embrace me as part of this family, no matter how hard I try, no matter how many times I swallow my words. She'll always have an issue with me." There was a heavy silence that hung in the air as I let those words sink in. "You should go on this trip. You can't miss it. As much as your mother is crazy, she's still your mother, and you love her, and she loves you. So you have to go. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine." I then turned to my mother-in-law, whose mouth was agape because of what I had just said, "And that's for you. Unfortunately for you, I am in love with your son, and I'm not going anywhere. You might think you can push me away, but I will always be here. Even when you go to Hawaii, you will always be thinking about me, because if I'm being honest, I think you're obsessed with me. How dare you? I should slap you right now. I'm not finished. You are obsessed with me. You're obsessed with tearing me down, and I cannot even imagine why when all I've done is show you kindness and patience, even when you didn't deserve it. But enough is enough. You don't want me to go to Hawaii with you? Fine. You don't think I'm part of the family? Fine. But I will always be here. As long as I breathe, I will always be here for Ethan, George, and even Ryan, but never for you. At that moment, I realized I had finally shut her up. She left her mouth open as if she was searching for something, anything to say, but her mind wouldn't let her. Finally, I had managed to keep her quiet. I said goodbye to the rest of the family members, kissed my husband on the cheek, and began to walk out. Let me drive you home at least. I can't let you take a cab. Please don't worry about me, babe. I love you, and thank you so much for loving me, but I'll be fine. You have a trip to discuss. Okay. If you say you're fine, then I'll believe you. Oh, don't forget your purse. Right. My purse. I left it in the kitchen. Once I arrived in the kitchen, I noticed Evelyn had gone in there too, I think to catch her breath after the whole situation. After being berated like that, I would have done something similar. What do you want? Don't worry about me, sweetheart. I'm just here to collect my things. Well, make it quick. I want you out of my house. I can't believe you said those things to me. With that, she quickly stormed out. She was filled with so much anger that she didn't even want to see me out the door. At that moment, I scoffed at her ridiculousness and reached for my purse. When I noticed a piece of paper next to it, my eyes glanced over it, and I saw Evelyn's handwriting. I believed at the time that it must have been a piece of paper detailing the itinerary for the trip, because I was feeling a bit relieved about not going. I couldn't resist the temptation to sneak a peek and see the wild time I'd be skipping. So I snatched the letter and started reading. And then, boom! Right there in the letter it said, "Dearest Ryan, you've always been like a son to me, and you know I love you dearly. The love and care you have shown me throughout the years will never be forgotten. I hate to admit it. But even when it comes to my son Ethan, I feel as though the love we once shared is no longer there." Wait, what is she saying? She loves Ryan more than she loves Ethan? That simply couldn't be. I continued to read the paper, and with each new line, I grew more astonished at what I was reading. I simply couldn't believe it. There was a lot to unpack, and even though it wasn't my place to read that letter, I'm really glad I did. Once I finished reading the whole letter, I couldn't sit still. I started pacing back and forth in the kitchen, my mind racing. And then, like a lightning bolt, it struck me. Everyone who absolutely needed to know about this letter was right there in that room. This was the moment to take action. I gave the letter another read just to double-check that I wasn't going crazy or imagining things, and just as I thought, yep, it was the same thing I read the first time. I walked back into the dining room to meet only 3 pairs of eyes looking back at me. "Emma, I am so sorry for what my wife has tried to put you through," George said. "Don't worry one bit. You will come with us to Hawaii. As long as I'm around, she's just in a funk right now, but don't worry, I'll convince her to change her mind. I don't know what's gotten into her recently, but I will change her mind." As I said, George, please don't worry about me. As I said, I'm fine. I'm more than fine because I have found some interesting news that I need to share with everyone, and I especially need to share it with Ethan. Ethan. And Ryan's ears perked up. I saw the flash of worry that ran across Ethan's face. Perhaps he thought this was too much for me to handle and that I wanted to ask for a divorce. Oftentimes when I would complain about his mother to him, he'd agree with me and wonder how I managed to keep up with her nonsense for so long. I'd always tell him that it was because I loved him way too much to let him go and that I'd go to hell and back for him. I noticed the Wicked Witch of the West wasn't around, so I asked, "Where's Evelyn? She needs to be here for this too." "Oh, I mentioned earlier she appears to be in a bit of a funk after you shouted at her. She mentioned having a slight headache and decided to retreat upstairs for a nap to nurse it. We knew she wouldn't be back down for quite some time because she's really particular about her beauty sleep and her routines tend to inconvenience others, which usually left me feeling annoyed. But this situation was different. It was absolutely crucial for her to be present." "It's okay, Emma," George said. "You can tell us, and we'll inform her when she wakes up." I hesitated, considering the information I knew. I wanted to see the redness on her face from embarrassment. "I think you should just go ahead and tell us, sweetie," George continued. "It's okay, and you know Ethan has anxiety. It would be bad to keep him waiting." That was true. Ethan's anxiety got really bad at times, and I could see him begin to fidget from the anticipation. "Okay, fine. I'll show you guys what I found when I was in the kitchen collecting my purse and getting ready to leave. I found something interesting that I think you all need to know about." I pulled out the paper I found and began to read it aloud. "Dearest Ryan, you know that you have always been like a son to me, and you know that I love you dearly. The love and care you have shown me throughout the years will never be forgotten. I hate to admit it, but even when it comes to my son, Ethan, I feel as though the love we once shared is no longer there. Ethan, I just don't see eye to eye like we used to, and honestly, I think it's because of Emma. Ever since he married that girl, he no longer has time for me. He doesn't love me, and therefore I don't think I love him. I love you, and you are my son. On that note, I need to inform you that I've decided to revise my will to ensure that all my possessions go to you and not Ethan. I'm aware it might hurt him, but frankly, I've reached a point where I couldn't care less. It's that dreadful Emma woman who has tainted my affection for him. I hope you've received and understood this letter well. The reason why I didn't want to approach you about it in person is that, and it pains me to admit this, I couldn't risk seeing the rejection on your face. I know you love Ethan like he's your brother, and most likely you won't approve, but I don't care. I'm giving you everything. The money, the house, the cars, and even my small businesses. They're all yours, whether you like it or not. If you want to talk about this further, please call me and we can discuss it. I look forward to hearing your response. I will love you forever and always. Your second mom. I finally looked up from reading the letter and was met with a flurry of mixed emotions. George looked like he was going to cry. Ryan looked stunned. But Ethan looked like he was going to murder someone. I can't believe she said all those things, he said. Is she being serious right now, so the reason why she's doing all of this is because of Emma? She hates Emma so much that she'd not include me in her will just to spite me and Emma? She's officially lost her mind, you guys. I don't even know what to say. This has gone far enough. I've had it with this woman and her toxic behavior. What are we going to do? At that moment, I had an idea. 1 week had gone by, and it was time for the designated Hawaii trip. Evelyn woke up and found a letter from her husband on her bedside table. It read, "Good morning, gorgeous. We decided to let you get some more beauty rest. Don't worry, your bags have all been packed. Just find us at the airport." Evelyn got ready and headed to the airport, looking around frantically for the people with whom she was meant to go on this birthday trip. She tried calling them, but they all wouldn't answer. She jumped to the assumption that they must have already boarded the plane, making it impossible for them to answer her calls. In a state of panic, she hurriedly made her way onto her own flight, desperately hoping to catch up with them once they touched down in Hawaii. The grueling 12-hour flight felt like an eternity. As soon as she disembarked, she video called George. "Hey, George, where on earth are you guys? I overslept and just saw your note," which would have been a cute idea if I hadn't slept in so late. "I got to the airport and tried calling you guys, but none of you were responding. I just assumed that you were already boarded, but it doesn't matter now because now we're in Hawaii. How amazing. Tell me where you are so we can meet up and let the festivities begin." "That won't be happening, Evelyn." "Well, what do you mean? Tell me where you are." "I'm at home." "What?" "You heard me. I'm at home. We're all at home. Say hi, everyone." George panned out his phone to show that everyone, himself, Ryan, Ethan, and me, were all in his house, sitting at the same dining table where we had all heard the tragic news from a week before. "What do you mean? Why are you at home?" "You see, Evelyn, Emma brought some interesting information to our attention a week ago, and ever since then we decided that we'd much rather spend our time in boring old Florida with her than anywhere else with you." Evelyn gasped. "You think we wouldn't find out?" "Find out what, my baby?" "Oh, don't you baby me. You were really going to cut me out of the will, Mom?" How did you even find out about that?" "Oh, that wretched girl that you hate so much. Emma found your stupid letter in the kitchen." "I don't know what you're talking about. Evelyn, lying right now is only adding more nails to the coffin." "Ryan, tell them. You've got to believe me. I did nothing of the sort." "We all read the letter, Evelyn. The jig is up." But I didn't do anything. Emma is making everything up." "Oh, am I? You are so pathetic it actually makes me sick. We all know what you said and what you tried to do. Thank God I was nosy enough to read the whole thing. Ethan, George, please." "No, Evelyn. Enough is enough. You're done. You don't get to say anything else. You messed up big time. Your hatred has caused you to be blind. Now you have to suffer the consequences of being alone on your birthday because of what you've done. I hope you can use this time in Hawaii to reflect on your actions." "But I'll be alone. It won't be fun. Maybe people would like to hang out with you more if you weren't such a raging witch. Have fun." And with that, George hung up the phone. We all let out a sigh of relief, and I was the first person to start laughing. Eventually, Ethan joined in, and before we knew it, we were all bursting with laughter and cackling at the dining table, just laughing at how crazy the situation was. The look on her face once she realized the gig was up was hilarious. Her face turned pale, all the blood drained from it, and I could tell that was the first time in a long time that she felt embarrassed. Evelyn had to spend her vacation alone, oftentimes calling George to see if he at least would come and join her because canceling the reservation she made would be expensive. But every time he kept denying it, he said that when she came back, they were going to have to implement some ground rules that were to be followed if she still wanted to be married to him. Evelyn began to be very apologetic and frantic, a complete 180 from what she normally acted like, which was honestly surprising. Ethan also mentioned that if Evelyn still wanted to be in his life, she had to drastically change her attitude, otherwise he was ready to walk out of her life forever. Their relationship is still rocky, and Ethan said that if Evelyn ever disrespected him again, even if it's the smallest snide remark, she could be cut off completely, the same way she was planning on cutting him off. As for Ryan, he thought it best to stop being so nice to her, as it was clearly enabling her toxic behavior. So not only did Evelyn end up spending a miserable time in a beautiful place, but she also risked losing the 3 most important people in her life. She now has very rocky relationships with all of them, and she has to change to be better. As for me, I messaged her and told her that I need time to see if I'm going to forgive her for all of her injustices. She was apologizing and begging for me to talk some sense into the men in her life. I obviously refused, stating that this is the bed she made for herself, and now she has to lie in it. Even to this day, Evelyn is still trying to mend the very broken relationships that she caused. I just hope that she learned her lesson.